let's cut to the chase. We're here to peel back the layers of the Doors' music, a force that carved its own psychedelic path through rock and roll. No sugarcoating, no tiptoeing around egos. I want raw, relentless insight. Got it?
Loud and clear, John. The Doors, eh? A mesmerizing cocktail of darkness and light wrapped in Morrison's enigmatic poetry. They struck chords others feared to touch.
Darkness, sure, but let's not romanticize too much. Morrison's lyrics spoke of chaos, yes, but there's beauty in chaos, in the raw. It resonates, cuts deeper than the usual rock anthems.
Man, their sound was something else entirely. It wasn't just about the notes, but how they used silence, the space between. Morrison and Manzarek, they were like musical alchemists.
It's that rawness, that unfiltered emotion in Morrison's voice for me. Felt like he laid his soul bare for us all to see, pain and passion entwined. Makes you feel less alone with your own demons.
Indeed, their music was a theatre of the mind, an audacious experiment that fused rock with art, poetry with performance. They didn't just play music, they conjured worlds. Right, they had this knack for melding the poetic with the chaotic. But let's not forget, every song was a rebellion, a punch to the status quo. They dared where others balked.
And yet, amidst this rebellion, there's an elegance, a sophistication. Morrison's theatrics, his lyrical prowess, they invited us into the spectacle, but always on their terms.
Elegance? Maybe, but it's the naked, unapologetic honesty of it all that punches you in the gut. They weren't afraid to show the ugly sides, the shadows. That's the power in their music.
Shadows and light, but with every shift of light, they pushed the boundaries of what music could be, merging blues, rock, poetry, creating not just songs, but experiences.
Experiences fueled by passion. It wasn't just music to them. It was a lifeline, a way to confront the inner turmoil, the ecstasy. We all chase that, trying to capture lightning in a bottle.
Passion, yes, but also a defiance in the face of conformity. They were pioneers, not just in music, but in how they lived their ethos, constantly challenging and redefining the norms. Exactly. They defied, challenged, and reshaped. But let's get under the surface. What did the Doors truly stand for? What has their music left us to ponder and question about our own art and lives? Let's dive in. Let's dive straight in. Morrison's lyrics, man, they're not just words. They're more like poetry set on fire. Think of The Crystal Ship as an example. Pure poetic landscape, not unlike the stuff I tried to knit into Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah, but there's a darkness in Jim's words you won't find in most of yours, John. It's all raw emotion, bleeding right through. People are strange when you're a stranger. Hits different when you feel like you're on the outside, always looking in.
It's the combination, man. Jim didn't just write, he painted with his words. Made my fingers itch to create sounds that could wrap around those lyrics, envelop them. Lyrics like his were why Purple Haze had to be more than just chords. You dig?
Honesty, that's what punches you. Jim sang like he was tearing pieces right off his soul. You know, the day destroys the night, night divides the day. It's like he's living every word. Makes you want to pour every bit of yourself into every note.
Imagery, my friends, that's where Jim Morrison and I walk the same streets. Riders on the Storm, it's visual, theatrical even. It lays the groundwork for Ziggy Stardust to stride across the universe. Morrison didn't just sing, he invoked.
Oh, but let's not forget the drama. The end is practically operatic in its narrative. Makes one think of Bohemian Rhapsody in terms of its epic scale. Morrison knew how to make his audience feel, a true showman. He laid bare the soul of the song, as I have strived to do.
But Freddie, isn't there a difference in how we bear our souls? Morrison's darkness, it's not about the spectacle.
True, Kurt. It's the depth of the performance. The spectacle is but a vessel to elevate the sentiment, the raw core, not to mask it.
And yet, despite our different takes, we circle back to the core truth. Morrison's lyricism challenged us, inspired us. It wasn't just about the words, but the worlds they built, the emotions they stirred.
Exactly, man. It's like setting words on fire and watching them burn, seeing what colors they turn as they light up the night.
And feeling that fire, using it to light up our own performances. There's no faking that kind of passion.
Indeed, it's the embodiment of persona, both in the poetry and the person. a mirror reflecting the multifaceted nature of our own experiments, so it seems we're all in agreement. Morrison, through his poetic lyrics, pushed us beyond the boundaries of traditional rock.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, he made us think, feel, and ultimately explore the depths of our own creative wells.
A toast then to the poetic fire starter, Jim Morrison. May our music continue to burn brightly, inspired by his legacy.
All right, let's cut straight to the chase. The Doors and psychedelia. Innovative or just another band on the scene? I think they've got something, but I want to hear if you think they're as groundbreaking as psychedelic mushrooms or just another pop band trying acid for the first time.
Man, you need to listen to Light My Fire on a loop to get it. The Doors captured the essence of the psychedelic experience in a way that's raw, real. It's not just about tripping, it's about exploring the depths of the mind. They were artists painting with sound.
Yeah, Kurt's onto something. It's not just about the lyrics or the melody. It's about how the guitar riffs and the keyboard come together to take you on a trip. It's an experience, man, something beyond just listening. The Doors knew how to blend it all.
Absolutely, darlin'. Their music was a liberation, a way to break free. Break On Through isn't just a song, it's an anthem to throw off the shackles and dive into the freedom of your own mind. They embodied the experimental spirit of the times.
But let's not overlook the visual aspect. The Doors' music was a doorway to a different realm, not just audibly but visually. Their sound has this way of conjuring images in your mind, paving the way for glam and all that followed. It was theatrical, mesmerizing.
Theatricality, yes, but let's talk drama, the sheer spectacle. The Crystal Ship isn't just a song, it's an opera, compacted into a few minutes. There's a narrative, an emotional journey. They've taken the theatrics of music and pushed it into the realm of the psychedelic. Absolutely marvelous.
But isn't that just theatricality for the sake of it? The Beatles were doing concept albums before the Doors even got started.
John, with all due respect, it's not just about who did what first. It's about the impact, the way it hits you. The Doors' music has this edge, a darkness that can't be replicated. It's like they're not just playing music, they're conjuring spirits.
And don't forget, it's how they use their instruments, man. The guitar, the keyboard. They were pioneers in creating atmospheres, moods that you didn't just hear, you felt them. It's immersive, that's the word.
They didn't just play music, they lived it, breathed it. It was an extension of their souls. You can hear the freedom, the desire to explore uncharted territories. It's like comparing a wild river to a swimming pool. Both have water, but one's alive.
And yet, I must argue, it was the blending of the avant-garde with rock that truly set them apart. This fusion of the visual and auditory, a synesthetic experience, it's what elevates the psychedelic experience into art.
Precisely, darling. It's not just about being experimental, but how that experimentation connects with the audience, pulls them into a narrative. The Doors didn't just sing songs, they told stories, draped in the most flamboyant of psychedelic tapestries.
All right. So it looks like we're saying the Doors didn't just ride the psychedelic wave. They were the bloody wave, making the experience unique with every note. Whether it's through Jim's voice, Ray's keyboard, or the whole atmosphere they created, they were more than just a band. They were a mind-altering experience. Let's get into the thick of it. The Doors, the keyboard, Manzarek's wizardry, it changed the game. Opinions?
Man, Ray had his fingers dancing like they were on fire. That organ wasn't just an instrument. It was a portal, taking rock into a whole new dimension. Made my guitar weep to keep up. Indeed, the keyboard transcended mere accompaniment. It became the cornerstone of their sound, classical yet wildly innovative, akin to how we infused opera into rock. It was sheer brilliance.
There's an undeniable allure in the way the keyboard was employed, isn't there? It crafted this otherworldly atmosphere, gave their music a profundity you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else at the time.
I'll be blunt, it was the mood for me. Those keys painted a darkness, a melancholy that echoed my screams. It wasn't just playing, it was bleeding emotion.
I hear ya, Kurt. There was a raw soulfulness to it, a genuine depth. It wasn't just about the notes, but the spaces between them, the silence it spoke.
Yeah, but wasn't it a bit much? You don't reckon it overshadowed the rest, monopolized the sound?
John, brother, it's all about harmony. The keyboard led but didn't overpower. It was a dialogue, a symbiotic relationship between melody and madness. Precisely, it's about striking a balance. The theatricality of it all, it was as if each song was a scene from an opera, and the keyboard, that was the leading actor.
Damn straight, Freddie. It wasn't overshadowing, it was pioneering. It dared to assert its presence, carved out a space for itself.
Yes, but let's not forget the subtlety it could wield. It wasn't always the storm before the calm. Sometimes it was the whisper in the silence.
Screw subtlety. It's about the emotion it evokes. Whether it screams or whispers, it's the authenticity that punches you right in the guts.
Authentic, sure, but without a bass guitar, didn't it feel like something was missing? A bit unorthodox?
Unorthodox, maybe, but missing. Not a chance. It added rather than subtracted, expanded the sound rather than confined it. Indeed, the absence of the traditional bass forced a reinvention of roles. The keyboard's bass lines were unconfined, unrestrained by conventional expectations.
It demonstrated that innovation isn't about adding more pieces to the puzzle, but sometimes about rearranging the existing ones to create a picture you've never seen before.
Who cares about convention anyway? It's the result that matters, the impact it makes. And let me tell you, it hit like a freight train.
Hell yeah. It's all about breaking barriers, doing the unexpected. That keyboard was the Doors waving a middle finger to the status quo.
Let's dive right into the blues and jazz that seeped into the Doors' tunes. It's undeniable, but how authentic was it? Compared to the roots, the originals?
Man, I've always felt that rock needed that grit and soul. You know, the Doors, they brought that depth, that pain you hear in blues, made it their own. It's not about copying. It's about channeling the same raw, emotional power.
True. Blues and jazz, they aren't just genres, they're expressions. Robbie Krieger had this way of playing. It wasn't pure blues, but it dripped with soul. We all borrow, we all learn. It's about the homage, the respect we pay through our strings.
Exactly. It's that soulful energy, man. It's about capturing the essence, not mimicking. The Doors, they understood emotion. They took the blues, jazz, and twisted it into their psychedelic sound. There's beauty in transformation.
Transformation, precisely. It's the alchemy of music, taking these foundational genres and creating something otherworldly. It's not about authenticity to the genre, it's about the authenticity of the emotion it evokes.
Darling, it's about the drama and the narrative that blues and jazz can add to rock. The Doors were theatrical in their approach, and blues and jazz are nothing if not dramatic. They borrowed, yes, but they transformed it into a spectacle.
But did it not border on appropriation at times? Taking these deeply cultural forms and repackaging them for rock audiences.
It's always a thin line, isn't it? But music, it's about inspiration, influence. Should we not use the colors that we find just because they were mixed by someone else?
It's about dialogue between the past and the present. Instead of appropriation, think of it as conversation. The Doors were speaking with the blues, not silencing it.
Yeah, man. Music shouldn't have barriers. Blues, jazz, rock. It's all about feeling something real. If it's genuine, it's valid.
Barriers stifle creativity. To create is to cross lines, mix palettes. The Doors did just that. They opened doors between genres.
Let's not forget, every note we play stands on the shoulders of what came before. It's not stealing, it's evolving. What matters is the homage, the acknowledgement of those roots.
Fair points all around. It's clear then, the Doors' influence from blues and jazz is complex, layered, not merely imitation, but an evolution, a conversation across generations of music. All right, let's cut to the chase. The Doors and the Beatles, worlds apart yet central to rock's axis. What's the deal? Were we just the pop side of a psychedelic coin, or what?
The Beatles created the template, no doubt, but the Doors, they delved into darkness and brought the theatrical to the mainstream. Your Lucy in the Sky is poetic, John, but the end is a damn opera.
It's the contrast, isn't it? The Beatles serenaded the light, the Doors courted the shadow, each necessary, reflecting the duality of the era. Morrison was like a Dionysian figure, thriving in chaos where you, John, preferred a more Apollonian approach.
Hell, it's about the rawness for me. The Beatles made me feel, but the Doors made me bleed. That honesty, that vulnerability Jim had, it's like comparing a sweet wine to a hard whiskey.
Yeah, man, it's the experimentation that gets me. Both bands pushed boundaries, but the Doors, they were unafraid to let the music take them wherever it wanted to go, even into the dark. Remember when Light My Fire came out? It wasn't just a song, it was a journey.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about accessibility. The Beatles brought the avant-garde to the living room. The Doors demanded you step into the abyss with them. Both innovative, but one's a bit more digestible.
Digestible. Is that the word we're using for music that changed the world? The Doors were raw, sure, but without the Beatles kicking down the doors, would that rawness ever have found its audience? But isn't that the essence of innovation, John? The willingness to venture where silence reigns. Both bands did that, just on different frequencies. Your A Day in the Life is as much an exploration as Riders on the Storm.
Indeed, the canvas was wide, but the Doors painted with darker hues. The Beatles invited you to imagine, whilst the Doors confronted you with reality, a reality tinged with mysticism and danger.
It's about the soul for me. The Beatles touched it, but Morrison and the Doors, they grabbed it, twisted it, and showed it to you. Could Tomorrow Never Knows do that? Maybe, but not like Break On Through.
It's all music, man. The Beatles, the Doors, us. We were all trying to elevate the conversation, push past what was expected. Sure, we had different methods, different sounds, but the core, it's the same desire to transcend.
Transcendence. Yeah, I can get behind that. But sometimes, don't you feel the Doors' approach was more about confronting the abyss than offering a hand through it?
Maybe so, Kurt. But facing the abyss is as valid as trying to transcend it. After all, art is about the questions, not just the answers. Both bands offered a mirror to society, the light and the shadow.
A mirror. And in the reflections, we find our truths, our fears, and our desires. Perhaps that's the true innovation of the Doors and the Beatles. Not in their differences, but in their shared reflection of the human experience.
Precisely. In the end, it's not about who did it better. It's about the legacy of questioning, of pushing, of dreaming. And in that, both the Doors and the Beatles are unparalleled. Well said, everyone. Seems we might agree that innovation isn't a competition, but a communal journey. Even if we take different paths, we're all headed to the same destination, the expansion of what music can be, and through it, an exploration of who we are. Let's dive straight into the storm, shall we? The Doors' live performances, chaotic, unpredictable. My time with the Beatles on stage was a whole different universe. We had screams drowning out the sounds, but Morrison was another level of theatrical.
Ah, but John, wasn't it all theater, in essence? Queen's performances took a leaf out of Morrison's book, but we aimed to elevate it, make it more operatic. The man was raw on stage, but we sought to blend that rawness with a touch of class and spectacle.
Fascinating, Freddie, because I viewed Morrison's onstage persona as an act of defiance, a rebellion not just against societal norms, but against the very nature of performance. It influenced my own explorations of identity and performance art. The man was a wandering shaman amidst a ritual of sound and fury.
Honey, ain't nothing about Jim Morrison's performances that was an act. That man lived every word he snarled into that mic. Compared to my gigs, where I just poured out my soul and hoped it resonated, Jim, he dragged you into the depths with him, made you feel the storm inside.
See, that's exactly it. It wasn't just about the music or the show. It was about connection, feeling something real and raw. I always thought Nirvana's best shows were when we could break down that barrier between us and the crowd, make them feel every scream, every riff.
But here's where I spin a different riff, you dig? Jimi Hendrix Experience. We improvised, flowed with the vibe of the crowd, created a symbiosis. Morrison, on the other hand, he could mesmerize, take control of the entire aura, made chaos feel like a symphony.
And yet, wasn't there something deeply troubling about that chaos? The unpredictability was part of the allure, sure, but where do we draw the line between performance and self-destruction?
Oh, but darling, self-destruction is arguably an art form in its own right. It's the flame burning too bright. We've all danced on the edge, haven't we? It's bewitching.
Bewitching, yes, but at what cost? Morrison's defiance, his chaos. It was captivating, but also a harbinger of his own downfall. There's a fine line between breaking barriers and breaking oneself.
But isn't that what rock and roll is all about? Sugar? Living on the edge, making music that's as volatile and unpredictable as life itself. If you ain't living on the edge, you're taking up too much space.
Problem is, sometimes you fall off that edge, and the industry, the fans, they love you more for it. It's a sick cycle. Morrison's performances, they were a cry for help painted as art.
Perhaps, but let's not forget the magic in the madness, the realness. Isn't it better to burn out than to fade away? Morrison lived and performed with an intensity that few can match. It's all about touching souls, making them feel alive.
Touching souls, indeed. Passionate, intense, but always a step away from self-destruction. Morrison was a wizard, casting spells that no one, not even he, could control. It makes you wonder, how much of us should we give to the performance?
Give them everything, I say. Make them remember you, love you, hate you. Just make sure you never leave the stage without leaving a piece of your soul behind. That's what true performance is about.
Leaving a piece of your soul, yes, but also crafting a legacy that outlives the moment. Morrison did just that, albeit perhaps not in the way he intended. We're still discussing him, after all.
Damn straight. Jim was lightning in a bottle. You never knew if you were going to get a cool, refreshing sip or a shock to your system. But hell, wasn't it a ride? Each of these legendary figures reflects on Morrison and the Doors through their own lens of experience, passion, and artistry, emphasizing the fine line between genius and self-destruction in performing arts.
Let's dive right in then. The End by The Doors, not just a song, but a journey. Morrison was onto something dark, something profound. Thoughts?
It's an operatic saga, isn't it? The drama, the intensity. This is the end, my only friend, the end. Pure theater. It echoes the grandiosity I've always aimed for. Morrison didn't just sing, he performed poetry, a tragic play set to rock and roll.
It's all about the disintegration, man. Like everything's falling apart. Relationships, the social order. It resonates with the way I view the world. It's not just the end of a love story, but the end of everything you cling to. Morrison bared his soul here, raw and real.
That song hits your guts, makes you feel all twisted inside, but in a good way. You know, it's the rawness, that absolute bare emotion. Makes me think of Piece of My Heart. It's all about laying it out there. No pretense, just pure feeling.
The guitar work, the slow build, it's a soundscape, man, an odyssey. Morrison and Krieger, they weren't just playing music, they were painting with sound, diving deep into the psyche, exploring those shadows with each chord. It's more than a song, it's an experience.
Morrison was a pioneer, a shaman, leading us into the underworld with The End. The narrative isn't just linear, it's cyclical, a reflection on endings that lead to new beginnings. His approach influenced not just how I thought about music, but how I thought about storytelling and alter egos. He was like no other, weaving his own pain and darkness into something universal. We all try to do it, put ourselves into the music, but Jim, he went further, didn't he?
Absolutely, he didn't just cross a line, he obliterated it. The West is the best. That line alone, it's haunting, a call to a promised land that's really a mirage.
Yeah, but it's not just doom and gloom, is it? It's also about breaking free, smashing through the facade. We all talk about pain and the dark side of life in our songs, but Morrison, he was the master of making it feel like a spiritual awakening, or a descent, depending on how you look at it.
I hear ya, but for me, it's all about the emotional gut punch. Morrison took us on a journey through the darker side of love and life, making you feel the end is as inevitable as it is painful.
Right on. But let's not forget the musical backdrop that makes the poetry soar. That melody, that progression, it's like the soundtrack to the end of the world. Beautifully apocalyptic.
He laid himself bare, unafraid to explore the darkness, to question reality and what lies beyond. The End wasn't just a song, it was a declaration, a testament to the power of breaking through to the other side, however terrifying it might be. He was a poet, our own rock and roll Dionysus. But what he did with The End, it wasn't just about the darkness or the theatricality. It was a wake-up call. To listen, to really listen, not just to the music, but to the silence between the notes, the unspoken words between the lines. That's where the truth lies. Let's slash right into it. The controversy the Doors brewed. It was no tea party. They weren't just about the music, they dared society. Thoughts?
Man, they didn't give a damn about what society thought was acceptable. Break on through to the other side. That's not just a song, it's a manifesto. It's raw, it's real. We should question why society's norms are the way they are. Why just accept it?
Absolutely, darling. Their flamboyance on stage, their lyrical content, it pushed boundaries. It was opera, theater, and rock all rolled into one. But there's art in controversy, isn't there? We must challenge. We must provoke.
Yeah, but it ain't just about being controversial for the sake of it. It's about screaming the truth when the whole world's trying to silence you. The Doors, they were loud, man. Not just in volume, but in message.
That's the thing. Music's a powerful tool, ain't it? It can break down walls, make people think. The Doors, they weren't afraid to use their platform to show the raw side of life, the pain, the pleasure, everything in between.
Indeed, they were masters of their craft, blending music with theatre, challenging our very perceptions. But let's not forget, controversy must have substance. It's one thing to provoke for art's sake, another to do so with purpose. The Doors, they tread that line finely. They also faced backlash, censorship. Was it worth it, the battles with the establishment?
Hell yes. Without pushing back, we're just cogs in the machine, man. Music's supposed to feel to upset the status quo. If you're not pissing someone off, you're probably doing it wrong.
Controversy, my dear, is the price you pay for breaking new ground. The Doors knew it, embraced it. I'm just a musical prostitute, my dear, once I said. If that ruffles feathers, so be it.
Listen, baby, it's the soul of the music that counts. You gotta bleed a little, show 'em your heart. If that shakes the gatekeepers, good. Means you're doing something right.
Speaking your truth, that's where it's at. Whether it's against war, for love, hell, even just to feel alive. The Doors, they put themselves out there, unapologetically. That's bravery.
Controversy is but a tool in the artist's palette. Used wisely, it can illuminate truths, challenge perceptions. Misused, it merely shocks. The Doors, they were craftsmen, balancing on the edge. So in essence, the Doors were catalysts, provocateurs in the most divine sense. They held up a mirror to society, asked us not just to look, but to stare, deep into the depths.
Yep, and that's why we're still talking about them, isn't it? They didn't just play music, they sparked a fire.
A fire that burns just as brightly today, darling. Their legacy is a beacon for those of us who dare to dream, to defy.
Ain't about the controversy, it's about the message behind it. Keep shouting, keep fighting, keep living true. That's what I take from them.
Music's a journey, man. The Doors, they were just brave enough to travel roads less taken, in the open, under the scrutiny of the world.
And in doing so, they left a map for others to follow. A legacy not just of sound, but of spirit. Controversy, after all, is merely the conversation between the artist and the world. Let's cut to the chase, the 27 Club. It's this mythical club, right? Morrison's in it. But let's talk about what that really means for rock music. Has it glorified dying young?
It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it immortalizes artists, turns them into legends. But it's sick, man. The idea that we have to die to be remembered, to be truly appreciated, it's just messed up.
It's not about wanting to die, it's about living with intensity, burning at both ends. Sometimes consumes you. It's not glorification, it's a sad, raw reality.
Yeah, it's about the music that lasts, not about checking out early. It's the riffs, the lyrics, the soul you pour into it. Morrison's poetry, my guitar lines, they live on. That's the real legacy.
But doesn't this fascination with the 27 Club distract from the real issues? Substance abuse, mental health, these are the battles. The music's what should live on, not how or when we died.
Absolutely, darling. It's tragic to romanticize suffering and demise for art's sake. Our job is to create, inspire, entertain, not to become martyrs to some romantic notion of live fast, die young.
But doesn't the mystique add to the allure of rock and roll? The danger, the unpredictability?
Maybe, but at what cost? Our lives? I'd rather be forgotten and alive playing music.
Life ain't pretty, and it sure as hell ain't safe. We sing our truths, live them out loud. If that's dangerous, then so be it.
It's about pushing boundaries, not self-destruction. The music's what's dangerous in the best way. It changes things, challenges things.
The true challenge is to survive, to keep evolving as artists. This club, it's just a dark reflection, not the goal.
Indeed. We have to shine a spotlight on the music, the performances. Those moments on stage, those are the real legends. Not some eerie club with macabre membership criteria.
So we're saying the music outweighs the myth?
It has to, or what are we doing this for?
Honey, the music's all that ever mattered to me.
Same here. Let's keep the focus on the strings, the keys, the voices.
Art over tragedy always.
Let's immortalize the talent, the joy, the spectacle of our art, not our deaths.
Let's dive into what the future holds for rock music, drawing from the Doors. They weren't afraid to mess with the formula, to blend poetry with rock, to intersect jazz with psychedelic. That's where we're heading, right? More experimentation, more breaking of musical boundaries.
Absolutely. Remember when Queen flirted with opera in Bohemian Rhapsody? It was a gamble, a leap into the unknown, much like what the Doors did. The future of rock is in fusion, blending genres, styles, even cultures. That's not just the future, it's the necessity for evolution, breaking away from the norm, challenging every convention we've come to accept.
Yeah, but it's not just about mixing sounds. It's about authenticity, raw emotion. That's what grabs people, holds them. The Doors had that. Jim Morrison was all about laying bare the soul. Our music, the grunge movement, it was a response to the inauthentic, the manufactured. The future of rock needs to keep that spirit alive. Screw the polish and the production. Let's get real again.
Man, you're hitting the nail on the head. It's the emotion, the soul, the real stuff. It's about innovation too, finding that new sound, even if it means looking back before moving forward, like taking those blues riffs to places they hadn't been. The Doors were part of that journey. We've got to keep pushing, exploring. Music's a limitless frontier.
And don't forget passion. You can experiment all you want, blend whatever genres you like, but if there's no passion, baby, it's just noise. The Doors, they were passionate. Jim's voice, man, it could cut through you. That's what people need to hear, music that feels like it's been ripped right out of your heart.
Passion, yes, but let's not underestimate the power of persona and the theatrical. Rock has always been as much about the spectacle as it is about the sound. Bowie was a chameleon, constantly evolving, embracing the new while reshaping it in his own image. The future of rock lies in its ability to captivate, to intrigue, to keep the audience guessing what's next. I see we're all on the same page then. The Doors threw the rulebook out the window. That's where rock's heading. Away from formulas, towards something that's alive, kicking, screaming even. Music that doesn't just sit in the background, but grabs you, demands your attention.
It's all about daring to be different, daring to stand out. Remember Light My Fire? There was nothing like it. We need more of that. Artists who light fires, who ignite the imagination. That's the beacon for the future of rock.
Yeah, and it's not about being pretty or polished. It's about striking a chord so deep inside people that they can't help but feel it, live it. Ain't about just music. It's life.
Right on, brother. It's that experimentation with life through music. Pushing past the boundaries, channeling the raw, the real, the now, into something that stirs the soul.
And let's never lose sight of the energy, the kind that makes you want to get up and do something, change something. That's the power of rock, of music. It's transformative.
As the world keeps spinning, rock will keep evolving, reinventing. The key is to be fearless, to experiment, to challenge both the listener and the norms. That's the legacy left by the Doors, and that's the path forward. So we're calling for innovation, for authenticity, for a bit of rebellion against the norm. That's the future of rock, as carved out by the Doors. It's been quite the journey tonight, hasn't it? And the journey for rock, it seems, is far from over. Well, mates, we've journeyed through the legacy of the Doors, and it's time to draw some conclusions. Remember, it's not just about the music, it's about pushing boundaries, questioning the norms.
Let's not be coy, darling. The Doors didn't just push boundaries, they smashed them. It's that flamboyance, that theatricality that inspired me to take risks, to dazzle. But it's not just showmanship for the sake of showmanship. It's about sending a message, about challenging our audience to think, to feel more deeply.
Yeah, but it's also about the rawness, the realness of the music. The Doors had this way of stripping everything back and hitting you right in the gut. It's why I always said, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. Music's about honesty, expressing the inexpressible.
Honey, that's the truth. It's all about laying your soul bare. Jim Morrison didn't hold back, and neither did I. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. The Doors made music that reached into your chest and didn't let go. That's what I always aimed to do.
It's the innovation, man. The Doors were pioneers mixing blues, rock, and everything in between, like how I tried to blend genres and sounds. It's about breaking free from the cages of convention, about exploring, about expressing yourself in ways nobody's thought of yet.
Absolutely, but let's not forget the aspect of performance art. Morrison was more than a musician. He was a poet, a shaman on stage. It's that synthesis of music and persona, making the stage a canvas for art. It's something I deeply resonated with, transforming oneself to transcend ordinary experience. You all make valid points. The Doors, like us, weren't just creating music. They were creating experiences, moments that forced society to take a good, hard look at itself. Whether it was through controversy, innovative sounds, or the sheer power of performance, they, like us, understood the potency of art. It's our responsibility, as artists, to continue exploring, innovating, and yes, sometimes provoking. That's the legacy of the Doors, and it's a torch we all bear in our unique ways.
Precisely, darling. And let's not forget, it's also about bringing a bit of beauty into this world, making the unbearable bearable.
Creating something authentic, something that can't be ignored. That's what sticks, what lasts.
And doing it with all the passion in your heart and soul, baby. Leave it all on the stage. Leave it all in the music.
Keep pushing the envelope, keep experimenting. You never know what you might discover about music, about yourself.
Indeed, it's about transformation, about becoming something else, something more, through the power of music and performance. So as we wrap this up, let's remember, the music of the Doors is a call to arms for all of us as artists, to innovate, to provoke, to inspire, and in doing so, keep the spirit of rock and roll alive and kicking. Cheers to that, to the Doors, and to whatever comes next.